So one of the highlights of your time at San Diego is how well you recruited there, and the biggest name there is Kris Bryant, who, as a guy that grew up as a Cubs fan, it's pretty cool. What was it like recruiting him? And then, one of the things that, as I was researching, there was a story about how you worked with him on his stance and his approach, too. And I've actually got the quote here. He said, I'm going to read it. The biggest thing he's taught me is about being in the moment. I knew I had the tools to succeed, at least physically. I don't know I had it in my head to succeed. He's worked with me on going up there with a clear mind and being able to hit your pitch. And the question I've written down here, is that something you worked out specifically for him, that approach? And I guess it would be a two-part question. Would be just, one, recruiting him, seeing the talent at a young age, working with him on, both the physical part of hitting, hey, get lower in your stance, but also that mental part that he touched on. So just your memories of him at that age, and then that approach that you worked with him, is that something that's a template that you can apply to different players, or is that you got to be specific with each guy?
Yes, Kris is special, and maybe even a once-in-a-lifetime coaching, a talent that you get to coach. And I'm sure that Coach O feels the same way about Joe Burrow and what he did here. But with Kris, you could see it right away in terms of the ridiculous talent, ability. Any coach in the country could have walked in there and watched a high school game when he was a sophomore and go, that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how'd you get him to San Diego?
Was on it early and on it fast and hustled, to be honest with you. And the other things that make him special are he's incredibly intelligent. Was a 4.6 student in high school. I don't even know how you do that.
No, it's possible.
And then as a person, he's everything you want any player to be, whether it's the first player on the team, which that's who he was, or the 35th player. And so him having such a good foundation of those three things really made it easy to take the steps in terms of the baseball development, because you knew what you were getting every single day. He was going to be successful no matter what we did. I mean, he was a freshman All-American, hitting 10 or 11 home runs without us doing much in terms of the physical stuff. But as I got to know him better, that we won 2 out of 3 early in his sophomore year, that he didn't necessarily have a great weekend, and it was against elite pitching. So we moved him down for a couple reasons: to get his eyes closer to the strike zone, being a tall guy, 6'5", giving him a little more natural path to be in the zone longer and stay behind balls more. And then all of a sudden the power to center field and right field really started to take shape. So it opened up his talent to the right part of the strike zone. It opened up his talent to all parts of the field. And then from there, he was willing to put in the work, had the self-discipline, the mental discipline for all of that to come to fruition. And now you're looking at one of the best players in Major League Baseball.
That mental approach that he touched on, being in the moment, having a clear mind, is that something you're a big proponent in, regardless of who it is?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of important jobs of a coach. In baseball, I think managing and helping your players improve their mindset to be able to focus on the task at hand is probably the best value I can create for myself for them. And so there's a lot of ways that you have to do that in a game that is built around failure, built around frustration sometimes. The ability to stay in the moment and focus on the task at hand and do that with a clear mind allows you your best chance at success. So that will be a big part of our program and how we develop players here.
Is that something you can drill? You can go out there and you can throw a BP and you can work with guys. Is that something you have to kind of take a different approach with every guy? How do you sort of develop that in an athlete, especially if that's not something they focused on extensively before?
Yeah, I think it's the part of baseball that's the most important, that maybe is the least talked about or the least work on. And you think about mental skills training. Well, the middle word of that is skill. And to develop any type of skill, it takes repetition. It takes practice. It takes deliberate practice. And so with all of those types of things, it will be a huge component of our program. Learning how to deal with success, learning how to deal with failure, really creating a model where the player can play the game one pitch at a time with a clear mind to attack the task at hand, allows their physical talent or the reason they were recruited to LSU to be on display consistently. And the difference between the elite teams, the elite players, and everybody else is consistency. And I think that is entirely wrapped up between the ears. In the SEC, everybody is going to have good players. The separator is that talent becoming usable skill on a consistent basis.
So I think maybe this came to mind. This isn't in my notes, but I was reading at some point, and maybe it was when you were in Omaha and you had your team literally visualizing before the game. Is that something y'all are big into? What does that practice look like?
Yeah, it's answering the first question first. I think it depends on the team, the player, the situation. I think wanting them to see it before they do it does a couple things. It triggers the feelings and the emotions and the mental space of where you need to be at that time is right here and right now. And I think some self-confidence can be developed that way. And so we have some exercises that we walk through mentally to help them do those types of things. And in terms of the preparation for the game, there's certainly the physical side of it, which we're going to be elite at that, and the fundamentals and work ethic and having a plan for a player to go from A to Z or 1 to 10, that takes time, that you have to put the right work in for that to happen. If you do that with the right mindset, then it is going to happen. And then the player, the coach, the program, the fans, LSU will see everything they want to see in individual players and the team.